On this show, we've been telling you about the numerous problems facing Xi Jinping's China: unemployment, economic slowdown, loss of trust, global isolation, and of course, the many health problems from the Wuhan virus to the bubonic plague. 8 months into 2020, China has a new problem: a food crisis. Did you see this coming? The Chinese leadership may not have. And now it is trying to hide the food crisis, just like it tried hiding the Wuhan virus outbreak. Let me quickly tell you what's been happening in China. On Tuesday, Chinese President Xi Jinping spoke about a campaign, Operation Empty Plate. It was initially launched in 2013 to target big feasts held by Chinese officials. Now, Xi Jinping has extended it to the public. The Chinese president has asked his people to stop wasting food and eat frugally, which should not be such a bad thing, but there's more to the story. He says when people go to restaurants in a group of 4, they should order just for 3, save food. All the hacks, and Xi Jinping did not say a word about food shortage. Instead, he spoke about, quote-unquote, bumper harvest in my country's grain production year after year. He lied. China's crops have been wiped out by mass flooding. What's worse, food prices are on the rise. Xi Jinping also hid another truth. China's food security is hanging by the thread. The reasons are various and many. Before I tell you that, let me give you some data. China is home to 1.4 billion people. But does China produce enough food to feed that many mouths? The answer is no. China is far from being self-reliant. It imports 20 to 30% of its food grains, more than a fifth. China is the world's top agricultural market. Between 2003 and 2017, its food imports grew from $14 billion to $105 billion. From the top 10 import partners alone, China imports food worth $75.3 billion. And I have a breakdown here. From Brazil, $22.7 billion, United States, $18.1, Canada, $5.6 billion. These are countries China depends on. Australia, $5.55 billion, New Zealand, $5.35 billion, Indonesia, $4.3 billion, Thailand, $4.13, Hong Kong, $3.37 billion, Argentina, $3.34, and France, $2.84 billion. These are numbers from 2017, and trust me when I say the figures have only gone up since. The moral of the story, though, is that China relies on the world to feed its people. But Xi Jinping seems to have forgotten this. What was he thinking when he was going around the world picking fights with people and countries, or exporting the Wuhan virus? Now, China is reeling under a crisis of its own making. It is in a trade war with America, the same country from which Beijing had imported grains worth $5.5 billion last year. China has also started a trade war with its biggest supplier of barley, Australia. China irked Russia by snooping on its lab. Xi Jinping forgot that his country imports maize and corn products worth $5.45 million from Moscow. China also imports these products, corn and maize, worth $40.63 million from Laos, more than $26 million from Vietnam. Beijing has engaged with both these countries in the South China Sea. Let's look at India. China's total agricultural imports from India in 2018-19 was worth more than $19 million. Major imports include prawns, castor oil, capsicum. Did China forget this when it decided to provoke India along the line of actual control? You see, food security has always been a priority for China. Like I mentioned, it needs to feed 1.4 billion people. Where will that food come from? Xi Jinping has rejigged China's priority list by putting his expansionist ambitions above everything else. And the result is this: the global supply chain has been impaired because of the Wuhan virus pandemic. Countries are refusing to engage with China because of its aggressive foreign policy. And then there are trade wars. In short, China may be headed towards a food crisis. And what is Xi Jinping doing about it? He's masquerading the crisis as a frugal campaign. Under Operation Empty Plate, restaurants are being asked to offer smaller portions. Diners are being asked to order less. All of this is not bad. But what is harmful is that Xi Jinping may be hiding a real problem from his people, a problem of food shortage that they may be facing soon. Beijing may have known this for some time now. Why do I say so? Because I have numbers. There were signs of hoarding earlier this year. In the month of June, China imported 910,000 tons of wheat. This was a 197% increase year on year. It imported 880,000 tons of corn, a year-on-year increase of 23%. Imports of sorghum surged 680,000 tons. Sugar, 140,000 tons, close to a 200% increase year on year. Earlier, these numbers looked like China was trying to take advantage of cheap global prices. But now, when you look at them, this could have been China trying to avert a crisis. It was stocking up in the fear of being cut off from the global supply chain. Well, for how long will these stocks last? Because by the looks of it, China's isolation is not ending anytime soon.